It was one of the big stories this week. A Major League Baseball player walks away from $13 million, but the shocking part of the story, it was all because of his son. Chicago White Sox first baseman Adam LaRoche announced this week he was retiring after management asked him to stop bringing his 14-year-old son Drake to practice with him every day. Drake even had a clubhouse locker next to his dad and has been traveling with him for several years. Management thinks it's a distraction. Now several players are threatening to boycott the team. LaRoche says he's walking away because management's new request goes against an agreement they had when he signed with the team. So is there a place for kids in a professional locker room? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in our newsroom is our panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our Democratic media consultant, Mustafa Tamiz, and Republican strategist and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Good morning again.
Good morning.
So obviously you got to give this guy credit. He loves his son so much. He says he's doing this for him, but was it excessive?
All right, well, first let's talk about the legal part of this. He had a contract with the team, and when he signed with the team, a part of his contract was my son will be with me during the season, and it was in his contract that he would do it. It was in his contract that his son would have a locker in the locker room. And one of the things that when I first heard this story, I want to tell you this moved me greatly. I have 3 children, and I spent 15 years, 3 days a week, coaching my children in soccer, a sport I never knew anything about until I started coaching. And I want to read something I heard this man say. As fathers, we have an opportunity to help mold our kids into men and women of character with morals and values that can't be shaken by the world around them. Of one thing I am certain, we will regret not spending enough time with our kids, not the other way around. That is what fatherhood is all about. That's what parenthood is all about. And I agree with him on that statement. But the question that arose here is, in a professional sports locker room, is there a place for children and is there too much? And what the team said and what the management of the team said was, we're not telling you don't bring your son. We're just saying, does he have to be here every time the team is in here? And in a professional locker room, there's men in there naked all the time. They're cussing, they're screaming, they're hollering. Is that the place for a child every day?
And what about the liability if while he's training his son gets hurt? Is the team responsible for that? Is the team responsible for babysitting his child whenever the father is training? I think this is a great story. It's a feel-good story, but you have to look at what the ramifications are. If he is allowed to bring his son every single day, that means other teammates should be allowed to bring their sons or daughters every single day. And then, I brought my son here to the set once or twice, but I don't bring him every Sunday. You have to think about what's excessive. And then why isn't this kid in school? That's another question. As I was reading this story, I was like, it's one thing you want to spend a lot of time with your son. I think that's wonderful, that's beautiful. But there are other things that we're missing here. We're not getting the full picture.
What about it? I mean, they did say, when I was doing the research on this, they do have tutors for him during this baseball season. They've done this the entire time they've had kids. They don't go to school during the season. They have tutors that keep them up in school.
Well, he himself is a son of a baseball player,
right.
So he grew up that way, and part of it that he's HDHC, so maybe there's something he's trying to do, and it's great. I mean, he's made $70 million throughout his career, and he's able to defer that. I wish more parents had that luxury, and this is a luxury. I mean, many people can't take their kids to work because they've got multiple jobs, and so it's a very good story, and I'm glad that he's able to do this. I wish our public policy was set up in a way of family medical leave and other things that average Americans could do, more to spend time with their children as well.
The other teammates are coming out. I expected teammates to some of them come out and say, thank you. But they're all saying, wait a minute, we like this kid. He's respectful, he's helpful, and you should have stayed out of our locker room.
Well, some of them are saying that, and in part because some of them have grown a bond with the father. And the fact that the father walked away because of the son, they're defending the father. He's a teammate, he contributes positively to the team. So far, we haven't heard of any negative contributions. So, of course, his teammates are, some of them are not, but some of them are going to be vocal and say, look, he's a positive influence, let's keep him here. But again, what is this telling us? We want to have have a family-oriented, professional atmosphere. But having a child every single day, I think that he's really opening the door for every mother, every manager, every umpire. They can bring their kids, their grandkids. Why not?
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, this was a hot topic on our Fox 26 Facebook page. Sunny says, who takes their child to work every day? Those baseball players are not angels. That boy is better off with boys his own age so he can grow up slowly, et cetera, et cetera. And then Eb Rocks says, good for him. It was agreed upon before any of this. Contracts are written and negotiated to be followed by either party. I hope he can sue the organization for breach of contract. Does that look likely, Chris? We really don't know what was exactly written in this contract, or if it was written, or if it was just a verbal agreement, right?
Well, my understanding is that it was part of the contract that he could take his son every day, and that his son would have a locker. And so I don't know, how far he'll go with a breach of contract suit. I mean, he retired, and so these are opening day contracts. We don't have an opening day yet, so I don't know where the lawsuit's going to go. He was willing to walk away from $13 million. When you've already made $70 million, $13 million is probably not that big a deal. But let's talk about this, Mustafa. We spend a lot of time here on this show when we talk about professional athletes. Johnny Manziel, we're talking about the bad part of athletes, and we're always looking for the role model in athletes. Isn't LaRoche the role model we've been looking for? And now we're breaking this guy down, saying, why are you bringing your kid? Here's the role model we've been looking for. Why aren't we pumping this guy up?
Well, I'm not sure if any of them are really role models, and their lives are different, right? They do make a huge amount of money, and they live differently than most of us do. It is admirable that he wants to spend time with his son. This is his last year to play baseball, and he's giving that up to spend time with his son, and I think that's great. Now, if weeks later, if we put him up on a pedestal and weeks later we find out that there's a lawsuit and he's trying to sue for that money, then all that stuff falls apart. So as far as I'm concerned, it's great that he's able to do this. Good for him. But we should find ways where more of us, more Americans that have average lives, that get up in the morning, go to work, can spend more time with their kids through public policy.
Final thought, we got to go.
Look, my son is a baseball player, and if I could, I would love to be in the dugout with him every single day, but it's not very realistic. And the fact that this gentleman wants to spend time with his son is fine. It's admirable. But every single day, I think that son needs to be in school. I think he needs to be with other kids.